Our heavyweight matchup is up next. Chris Arreola, a hero in this area. 34 years old. He's got 8 years on Curtis Harper. That's a Harper advantage. Height advantage for Arreola. Reach advantage for Harper. And they are both very big guys.
And now set to make his way to the ring fighting out of the red corner, Curtis Harper.
You hear the smattering of the boos from the crowd, somebody going up against their hometown boy. I'm sure it has nothing to do with Curtis Harper individually, but he is not going to be the favorite tonight going into this matchup against Chris Arreola.
I'll tell you what, watching him walk out compared to the way Bonet walked out, it's a big difference. Bonet was outgunned, Harper's outgunned, but when Bonet walked out, you couldn't see it in his face. There's almost a look of trepidation in his face. Almost, I wouldn't call it fear, just like almost, oh boy, what did I get myself into?
And now ready to make his way to the ring fighting out of the blue corner, his Puma, the Nightmare Arreola.
And here's the Nightmare, a pro since 2003. Big wins in his career include Chaz Witherspoon and Seth Mitchell. Mitchell was at one time on a fast track and being built toward a heavyweight title. But Arreola has been in the mix with a lot of good guys, giving him experience that should help him a lot here.
And you hear the hometown crowd roar for Chris Arreola. The big boys are in the ring at 262 pounds. He's set to
live
go.
on Spike now presents 8 rounds of action in the heavyweight division. Presented by Corona Extra, La Cerveza Mas Fina. The 3 judges at ringside, Eddie Hernandez, Pat Russell, and Fernando Villarreal. And the referee in charge of the action is Ray Corona. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. He wears the black and gray from Jacksonville, Florida. His professional record, 12 wins, 3 defeats, 8 knockouts. To his credit, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Curtis Harper. And across the ring, his opponent tonight fights out of the blue corner. He wears the blue and white. His professional record, 35 victories, 31 by knockout, against only 4 defeats. By way of Los Angeles, he fights out of Riverside, California, presenting his Puma, the Nightmare Arreola.
All right, Elliot and Harper all set. They tap it up. See a lot of action with heavyweights, usually early.
8 rounds is our format of this one. Anyone to make a side bet that it won't go all 8?
The under is a big proposition here.
8 rounds, I don't know if it'll go 8 minutes.
Oh, we've got some parameters. We guys should come out firing.
Harper's wearing the silver. Arreola's wearing the blue.
And Harper right away come out trying to get in the face and earn the respect, and they're traded.
Big shots by Harper. He'll take his chances early. And Arreola says, no problem. I'll take mine too. Good
Nice
jab by
stiff jab.
Arreola. Good jab and a right hand by Arreola gets in. Good left hook. Good right hand, and Harper is in deep water on the canvas for the first time.
30 seconds into round number 1, and already Harper goes down.
This is not boding well for him even to get out of this round, because Arreola is just going to go back to the same thing. Harper has nothing to stop him with. Leaping right hand here by Arreola. He has the patience to set things up, and also the power. The jab of Arreola gets home, and a big right hand again. You know he wants to end it with a right hand bomb.
You talk about power. Those ropes saved the first 2 rows, because if they weren't there, Harper was going through them.
So he helped the people at ringside. Good jab, right hand, and Arreola can't miss him with a jab and a right hand. Harper does not have the skills to keep with him. I mean, you step up and you find out where your career is.
Yeah, and even though the reach advantage is in the corner of Harper, Arreola looks to be the longer fighter. He's doing a great job extending those punches, making solid connections.
And he is just blitzing Harper here, and he wants to keep this up. Good left hook to the temple area. Harper comes back with one. Good left hook by Arreola.
I'm just waiting for
Harper
that right
stumbled
hand
again.
Right hand behind it. Arreola just misses with the follow-up right hand. But Harper is ripe to be tagged.
He's on rubber legs.
And one more shot would put him down. Big left hook. Referee looking closely. But Harper, big man, stays up for now.
Yeah, he is one breath away from going down, though. He is having a hard time standing up, even when he's not getting punched. Arreola connects again. Harper almost, he saves himself from going down by holding on to the neck of Arreola.
There you go. Right now is a good time for Arreola. Just a couple times. Go back downstairs to that body a couple times. Loosen up that guard up top, so that'll create that opening for that big right hand.
He throws a jab and a right hand. He cannot miss.
And Harper, unbelievably, may make it out of round number 1. He does.
Well, that sure didn't look likely after the knockdown.
Harper, even his corner looks like he's hurting right now.
Get down.
Let's take a look at the knockdown that we saw in round number 1.
And here we go. You see Arreola moving. There's the jab, and boom, that big right hand followed by a left hook. Both touch the chin, and here it comes again, waiting, and there's the right hand. Right on the side of the jaw, buckled the knees. Luckily, the ropes were there. He would have been in the 3rd row if they weren't. Another shot of it, pulls back. There's the jab. Boom. Big right hand, straight, right at the point where the jaw meets the ear, right on that jawline there. That's one of those knockout points. Arreola needs to look for that punch again. Set that up. Find that angle, because that's his sweet spot. Every time he landed that shot, he buckled the knees of Harper.
Boom,
and there it is, right there.
On the chin. Nice, clean shot, well timed. Can he do it again? Will he dispatch Curtis Harper in round number 2, or can Harper pull off a miracle upset?
Here we go. Chris Arreola, 35-4, 31 knockouts, using the experience against his tough opponents to just blow past and outclassed Curtis Harper thus far. Knocked down in round 1, almost had him out. Arreola has heavy hands.
And it's not just that he has heavy hands, he has bad intentions. I talked to Chris yesterday after the weigh-ins, and I asked him, about his performance and what he wants out of the ring. And he said, listen, I'm not thinking about winning or losing. I'm only thinking about knocking this guy out. I don't want to win. I don't want to win a decision. I want to win because my opponent is flat on his back, looking up at the lights because I knocked him out unconscious, and I did it in brutal, violent fashion.
Well, that's the kind of pressure that is on him now in these type of fights, because he's been to the top of the mountain, fought champions as he takes one there. So he's already made his elevation, and he's at a point where he can't just have a ho-hum decision win. They've got to be bombs.
One thing I want to notice here is that we're about at the halfway point of the 2nd round, and Arreola's outpoint has significantly dropped since the first round, and I'm wondering if he punched himself out going for that knockout, because he looks tired. I mean, he hasn't been firing like he did earlier.
Yeah, he went for it in that last round, and here is Harper. Because he almost had Harper out. He was a punch away from finishing this fight.
Yeah, he was on wobbly legs, but here in round number 2 so far, I'm scoring this round for Harper. Harper's landing the more meaningful shots, and he certainly is throwing more volume of punches.
And he's nailing Arreola with flush shots,
But here comes
even as he's
Arreola.
taking them.
Arreola is always one punch away from ending a fight.
Well, and tonight he was probably a third of a punch. He was that
Sneeze away
close
from ending the fight.
in round 1. That will be interesting to see if that theory, Joey, that he punched himself out for that knockout attempt in round 1 would give him a little bit more energy in round 3 after a round like this.
Coast, cruise, recover, get your legs back, get your wind back.
Get your mouthpiece back.
It's a good way to get your wind back, right? If you're getting tired, just boop.
Yeah, because look, here you get about a 20-second rest. And you know, I've almost never seen a penalty for that. If you did it flagrantly,
One time.
you saw it once.
One time. 10th round, Corrales-Castillo. Remember David Corrales,
Yeah.
the first knockdown, it fell out accidentally. The second knockdown, very smart by David Corrales' part. He spits it out intentionally to buy that extra 30 seconds, says, I'll take the point deduction as long as I got 13 seconds to get my legs back under me. He does it, it works off. He works out in tremendous fashion because he knocks out Castillo 30 seconds later. That actually is one of my favorite rounds in the history of boxing.
It's nice when you can have a point to spend.
Yeah.
The crowd didn't like that shot there after the bell, but they were cracking in round number 2, and that lopsided round number 1 suddenly disappeared into a much more competitive round number 2, Joey. I have that round, the second round, for Curtis Harper.
It was up in the air for me. I could see judges give it to either of the fighters, but it was less about what Curtis Harper did and more about what Chris Arreola didn't do. And that was anything. He obviously was gassed. His punch out point went down by 70%, and he just kind of waited, felt around, looked for a big shot here and there, but he wasn't that aggressive, that attacking, that pit-pull, vicious, going for the knockout kind of fighter that we saw in round 1. But that being said, though, to set that pace for any fighter, let alone a heavyweight, that's a tall task.
That's 260-some pounds at a fast pace.
262 to be exact. Curtis Harper tipped the scales and just more, 265.2.
Yeah, you're not going to see Nuria at those weights. Third round. It did not look like we would get here.
And already, just look at the way Arreola came out moving. Ooh. Harper came out. But already he just comes out moving a little more. He looks a little fresher. He hasn't done anything, but just his body posture, how he's standing, how he's walking, how he's moving right now. He doesn't seem as fatigued as he did in the previous round.
He's got that hunt back in his eyes.
Exactly.
In that first round, after Arreola dropped Harper and was very close to finishing it, he had a lot of time, went for it, almost got the knockout. It did not come. And in round 2, he looked tired, and Harper looked rejuvenated. Now in round 3, here we are.
What I'd like to see from Chris Arreola right now is start sticking that jab, but afterwards go to the body. Just give me a couple body shots. A jab, sit down a straight to the body, move a little bit. A jab, sit down a left hook to the body. Use that body work to create the opportunity for that headshot, that opening. Then what happens is you can either sit down to feint the body shot, watch your opponent drop the hands, and come up top like we saw Thurman doing last week against Guerrero, or take the legs out of Harper so he can't move, he can't defend, and then the knockout will come on its own.
And here comes Arreola, but walking into a
Nice
right hand
inside
and a good
left
hook.
He stunned him there. There's a full 90 seconds left in this round, and Arreola is looking for that knockout. Watch for that right hand.
20 seconds left in our first prop. The 8 minutes. It's right there.
Oh, we're at that point. Come on, Chris, you got 15 seconds. Don't let me down.
Jab here by Harper. As we pass the 8-minute mark, and Harper fires the hook, and then Arreola back to business with the double jab.
Oh,
right hands by both.
Beautifully
Harper
done.
sends a second one, and the longer it goes, the braver he gets.
Absolutely. He's firing back. He knows that he's got to go for broke. If he stands there and lets Arreola tee off on him, he knows it's going to be all over. So might as well go ahead and fire back and see what happens. Arreola's hunting right now, but Harper says, if I'm going to stay in this game, I got to fire some shots of my own.
For a guy with only 8 knockouts, Harper's got some punch. He's landed some shots. He's snapped back the head of Arreola a few times. It's surprising. I did not expect to see that from him.
Well, he's the far less experienced fighter, but almost 70% of the time he's knocking his opponents out. And again, he hasn't lost in almost 2 years. So Curtis Harper coming into this, he was ready for this fight. Some people said he was outmatched. He's putting up a hell of a fight. Looks good in there.
All right, let's get a look back at some of that action from the previous round. And here we go. We see Arreola stalking, is coming forward. Nice cross by Harper. Nice hook to the body. Arreola ties him up. And here we see another angle. Arreola pausing, he's looking, and boom, there's that big punch we talked about. Snap back the head of Arreola. But what I like about it is look at the eyes of Arreola. Look at his legs. Even though his head was snapped back, he didn't seem like he was hurt. He wasn't damaged. The legs weren't wobbled, the eyes weren't glassy. So it looked powerful, but it didn't seem to do as much damage as it would have appeared.
And as soon as that head snapped back from that big hand, that big right hand, he instantly fired back his own shot.
Start of round 4, Curtis Harper, Chris Arreola. I'm Dave Bontempo along with Joey Varner and Dave Farah. Glad you're with us on the second edition of Premier Boxing Champions. And don't forget, upcoming we'll have Josecito Lopez and Andre Berto. Right now, we've got some heavyweight fireworks, and there's a good left hook by Harper, and Arreola feeling the heat.
He's shaking his head, which means, yes, that did hurt. And Harper now pouring it on a little bit. Arreola's on the defense. He's retreating a bit. Those shots landed, and he got stunned.
Harper keeps getting braver, landing some shots, hoping that he can do enough damage to hurt Arreola and knock him out. And he's getting more opportunities, Joey, in these last couple rounds.
He's taken control of the fight. I gave him the 3rd round, 4th round right now. He's still behind because of that knockdown in the 1st, but he's backing Chris Arreola up. He's landing the more significant punches. He's taking control of the tempo, of the pace, and he's starting to dictate the action. Beautiful
right hand
straight
again
right
by Harper. And Arreola, who's known
Arreola,
as a technician with the shoulder. Yep.
He just shook off his right hand. He may have damaged his hand inside of the glove.
You see him shaking it again right there.
It's a bad sign.
We're seeing Arreola not go to the jab as much as he was doing earlier when he was setting up a lot of his shots.
Yeah, but we may see that change now, considering that right hand, he's been shaking that glove consistently now for the better part of this last half minute. And as a result, I think, oh man, another nice shot. Big right hand from Harper lands right on the chin of Arreola.
Here he
Harper's
comes.
turning it on right now. He's got him up against the ropes.
Comes in. Harper trying to do his best work. Here comes Arreola back with the left hook and the right hand. Harper sees opportunity. Arreola sees that he must stop him here.
I'll tell you what though, this is where you see the experience of Chris Arreola taking control, because Harper did a great job of backing Arreola up to the ropes, unloading a combo, and look what's up now though. It's Harper with his back against the rope. Arreola very technically, very smooth, turned him, reversed him, put his back against the ropes, and took control of the situation, took control of the location of the fight.
Huge uppercut by Harper and a hook by Arreola. The big bombs coming from the big guys.
Look at how
Good
much
body shot, then a hook.
Arreola is favoring that left hand all of a sudden, though. He's only throwing the right hand when he absolutely has to, and there's an opening for a headshot. I think the right hand of Arreola may be broken.
And will Harper be able to pick up on that?
I think if he didn't notice it in that round, his corner is about to tell him. That is a serious problem for Chris Arreola. Take a look at some of the action here from round number 5. This has become quite the scrap.
And this is the flurry we see. There it is, that left hook that wobbled the legs, followed up with an overhand and another left hook. And you see on wobbled legs, Arreola trying to fight back, but he's just getting clipped. Curtis Harper took control of that situation right there, and there's a good little shot to the body, followed upstairs with that left hook, and boom, another right hand left hook. Arreola on rubber legs, fighting back, but Harper, and then here's what I was talking about. Arreola put Harper against the ropes, but it's Harper who lands the nasty left uppercut on the inside, followed by that right hand.
Yeah, and you talked earlier about how the eyes didn't glass up of Arreola on that shot in the previous round. Right there, those eyeballs are rolling.
Wow, I'll tell you what, kudos to Curtis Harper. No, he must not have got the memo that he was the underdog, that he wasn't supposed to win this fight.
And he got off the deck to do his best work. So we start round 5, Curtis Harper and Chris Arreola. It has turned into excellent back and forth struggle. Arreola, 35-4, 31 knockouts. 3 of the losses have been to champions of the world. Harper, 12-3 with 8 knockouts, trying to make his statement tonight.
I got it 37-38 for Arreola just because of that knockdown in the first.
Well, I tell you what, after round number 1, it looked like Arreola was going to considerably slow down, and Harper didn't look like he had much more gas in the tank. As we're almost midway through round number 5 here, these two continue to impress me with their cardio. They are pushing forward constantly, and both of them are assaulting the other one, just trying to knock each other out constantly throughout this round. They don't look to be tired at all.
They've achieved the second win.
Maybe a third, fourth. They're still going.
Good hook here by Arreola, answered back by Harper. Arreola double jab, gets some space.
And again, Arreola, notice how sparingly he's throwing that right hand. He'll throw it out there, but only when he sees a clear opening.
Good uppercut and a right hand by Arreola there as they trade big shots. And if Arreola is hurt in that right hand, what does he have on it?
Yeah, Arreola is complaining about a headbutt there, and it looked like Harper did come in and catch him at the top of the head. Intentional or not, we have no idea, but they fight on.
Jab and a right hand by Arreola.
That's been the winning combination for him all fight, hasn't it?
That's the knockdown, came from that in round 1. The only difference now, of course, after this type of attrition is the speed at which this jab and right hand comes in now, as opposed to round 1.
And you know what? It's not just the speed now, it's the adjustment. Because what happens now is Chris Arreola has been throwing that jab cross, that 1-2 combination, and every time now, Harper's been pulling down, sitting down to the right to avoid the right hand. This is that point where Arreola, being the seasoned pro, needs to see this. He needs to make that adjustment, throw that left jab, feint that cross, and either put a left uppercut or a right uppercut at the end of it, but let you move your man into your punch, into your combination. Read his response and make that adjustment. Because he's still throwing that 1-2, but every time he launches that cross, Harper's not there to be hit. He's ducking down to his left.
He's seen it enough times to make the move as we come to the end of the 5th.
Unbelievable that we're going to see a 6th round and perhaps more in this bout between these two heavyweights.
I have it 47-47 now.
I do not disagree with you, sir.
It's a great story for Curtis Harper.
Let's take a look back at some of that action from the exciting round. And here we go. We see the two fighters tied up. Harper just swinging with bad intentions. Again, bad intentions. You see, there's the headbutt, a little bit of head action in there. That was Arreola was complaining later on about that. But Harper not backing down for 1 inch, 1 iota. I don't think he thinks he's an underdog. I think he believes wholeheartedly that he's in there to win that, and he's still going to make his name as a contender. He's still moving up the ranks.
He's fighting as if it is his fight to lose.
Now let me ask you this. If you're Chris Arreola, and here we go, speaking of Chris Arreola, we see some more of that action. Harper does a good job backing Arreola up to the ropes. And there's Arreola looking for that jab cross combination. There's the point right then. You see he hit it on the top of the head with that right hand, and right when he pulled it back, that's when he was shaking it. That's the point that if he has a broken hand, that's when it happened.
Round number 6 is underway right now. 8 potential rounds here. The 2 heavyweights slugging it out. Curtis Harper in the silver trunks. Chris Arreola is in the blue trunks.
Jab outside here from Arreola. Right hand on top of that. Left hook by Arreola. Good hook back from Harper. Arreola backing up. This is really a matter of who's going to be more gassed also.
And you know what's interesting is Arreola is not backing up. Harper's backing Arreola up. Harper's stalking him. Harper's almost bullying him around the ring, which is the exact opposite of what we saw going on early in the fight.
Good hook to the body here by Harper.
When we look at the scoring criteria, ring generalship is a big part of it. The judges favor the fighter who controls the pace and style of the bout, and right now that looks to be Curtis Harper.
And of those categories, effective aggression is a real big one. And then there's something that doesn't factor into those considerations is the local judges. You fight in the guy's backyard. In a way, you've got to figure you're a point or two behind.
And you know what? And I don't think it's ever an intentional thing, but when you're in the backyard and you hear the crowd screaming, every punch that lands for the hometown person, the crowd reacts to. The judges, whether they do it consciously or unconsciously, they're affected by that. They always
puts
are.
an exclamation point on every single strike that the hometown guy throws.
It's a subtle bias, but it's there.
Absolutely. Curtis Harper's fighting like that, though. He's in there knowing that he has to win almost every single exchange that he can. And after looking like he was totally outmatched in round number 1, here we sit in round number 6, and according to Joey's scorecards, we're tied up.
Watch Arreola when he throws his right hand now. He's almost slapping with it. He's almost hitting it with the knuckle side of the glove, the inside of the knuckles. He's not really using those 2 big knuckles. He's not making direct contact. He's almost swatting with it now.
All right, so if you're Harper and you've picked up on that right hand, what adjustment are you making against a one-handed fighter now?
First off, I don't respect it. Off that jab, when I see that right coming, and I know he's pawing, I know he's slapping down with it, I'm going to commit with the right hand of my own, or I'm going to try to counter over the top with my own left hook. But I'm not going to respect that punch if he's just slapping at it and I know he's got a broken hand.
And you see how Harper, it looks like he may have picked up on it because he's starting to circle more to the right of Arreola and then throwing a quick left jab, or a quick left hook of his own to try to close the combination out. Hasn't quite worked exactly how he wants to just yet, but it appears to be something that he's attempting, or at least he was there in round number 6.
I don't know how to score that last round. I'm leaning towards Arreola, but
it was close.
It was a close round. And here we go. We're going to pull up some nice action from the last round. Here comes Arreola pressing forward. And boom, there's that right hand. And he waits, throws the big hook. But to Harper's credit, nothing's landing. He did a great job defending, covering, and then tying Arreola up.
Heading into round number 7 of 8.
As the home stretch beckons. Hey, we were surprised to get to round 3 when you looked at how Harper appeared at the end, latter stages of round 1, but he has fought on gallantly. In the 7th round we go.
Got it 57-56 Arreola right now.
Arreola 35-4, 31 knockouts. Curtis Harper 12-3, 8 knockouts. biggest opportunity of his career. And for Arreola, you can't take anything for granted.
Now for Arreola though, let's look ahead. Let's say he does get the W tonight. What happens to his stock? He's coming up off of a loss in a world championship fight against Berman Stavern. A good fight, but he lost to Stavern. And he's in against the guy who's 12 and 3, and he's giving as good as he's getting. You know, it can be going either way. Moving forward, what happens to his stock? Does he take a hit?
He does. He does take a hit with that. Still, because he draws crowds here, as you see them opening him up, they'll always have fights for him to bring people, but the size of those fights is going to be a question, and what he can command.
And much like we saw in the bout with Eric Bonet, the stock is going up on the other side of the ropes with Curtis Harper, who came in tonight. And regardless of what happens in these next 4.5 minutes, he is in there slugging it out with one of the best heavyweights in the world.
A couple left hooks gets in from Parker, and then here comes Arreola back.
Harper landed a nice right hand to the body, left hook to the head. It looked like it almost hurt Arreola, but more woke Arreola up, because Arreola came back with a vengeance and just got on him with a 5-6 punch combination.
And here is Harper slapping, and those arms are so tired now. They have been setting a pretty good pace for many of the rounds in this fight, and it's been a high intrigue, high adrenaline fight by both guys.
Really, really high output fight for two heavyweights. And not just two heavyweights, two 260-plus pound heavyweights.
It's amazing how the division has changed. If a guy is 205 pounds now, he's almost apologizing for fighting in the heavyweight division.
Again.
Man, they are swinging hard. Arreola connects with a couple. Harper connects with a couple of his own, and both of them meet in the center of the ring, a little wobbly leg.
Left hook and right hand coming together. The hook of Harper, the right hand of Arreola, scores with it again. Harper takes it, walks through it.
And just when I think that Harper looks wobbled and Arreola may be able to finish him off with just one more punch, all of a sudden Harper fires back with another big shot that stuns Arreola. Just back and forth they go.
Oh, nice right hand.
Right at the bell.
If that right hand's broken, you wouldn't know it by watching this last round, because Arreola connected with 3 or 4 big right hands. And there's a big right hand by Harper. Arreola answers the right hand of his own. He follows it up with a right hand, with another right hand, with another right hand. 4 clubbing big overhand rights in a row that send Harper stumbling. And here we see Arreola backing him up. They're finding the range of the jab. And there's that right hand, that straight right hand. Another great jab and another straight right hand.
Amazing action for round number 7 in a heavyweight bout with two huge fighters like this going back and forth.
I'll tell you what, Dave, you asked me what my advice is to a fighter if we know he has a broken right hand, and I said don't respect it. Disregard that advice. If Harper would have listened to that, he'd be on the canvas.
Cancel that last memo as we head into the 8th and final round. Curtis Harper, Chris Arreola.
I gave that round to Arreola. I thought he did a great job. He stole it, put an exclamation point on the last 30 seconds of it. I've got it 67-65 coming into the 8th. Chris Arreola winning.
Well, he's fighting at home. He's got a knockdown to his credit as well and some momentum. So things are boding well for him as we enter the final round. Dave Bontempo, Joey Varner, and Dave Farah here with you on the 2nd edition of Premier Boxing Champions. And this one has exceeded expectations.
Absolutely, and Curtis Harper, who came into this as the much less experienced fighter, just 15 fights to his credit, is really putting up an amazing fight against Chris Arreola, but don't count Curtis Harper out just yet. About 70% of the time, he's knocking his opponents out. He may be able to get it done in the next 2 minutes.
You always hear fight fans alike say there's nothing greater than watching the heavyweights. We love the heavyweights. Let me tell you something. There's nothing greater than watching 2 heavyweights who set a pace like 2 lightweights. These guys, every single round, have traded nonstop back and forth with shots that snap the other opponent's head back.
And it seems like the volume of punches has increased every single round that we've gone along. It's impressive, especially in the heavyweight division.
As here comes Arreola, throwing a couple jabs, trying to close the show halfway through the final round. Left hook gets in.
I'll tell you what Arreola's done right now, the last bit of the previous round, and he started to do this round as well, is he went back to that jab. He had so much success early with that jab, a good stiff jab, fake the jab, stiff jab, and put the right hand at the end of it, but he's not doing it frequently enough. Let's see you go back to that, Chris. Pump it, there it is, there's that jab overhand. I think what happens a lot of time is Harper's not as polished, and so when Arreola lands that straight right, Harper answers back with some kind of sloppy overhand or hook, just not a polished punch, and then Arreola takes the bait, he bites the hook, and engages in just a wild slugfest, and that plays into the hands of Harper's game.
Harper lands a couple, backing Arreola up. And then the tie-up. These guys may be gassed, but they're still determined here.
And there's that 1-2. There's not. I love the peel. I love when you peel the glove down and throw the punch. One of my favorite moves.
Final seconds ticking away. Arreola has got Harper in the corner. He's starting on low, but Harper knows he's not done just yet. Here
Nice
we go.
left hook.
It's the worst he's been hurt since the opening round.
Look for that uppercut.
You'd like to at least see him make the final bell. He deserves that, and he gets it after having this kind of performance. Well, I'm going to say something we never thought we were going to say halfway through round one. We will now go to the scorecards.
Unbelievable. We had a side bet that it wouldn't go the whole distance. Joey thought it wouldn't go 8 minutes. And in round number one, we looked like geniuses. And now maybe not so much, but I tell you what, I'm glad it went all 8 rounds. What a fantastic fight. The fans are loving it tonight here in Ontario, California.
Chris Arreola, Curtis Harper brought the fans to their feet. 2 heavyweights fighting like 2 lightweights. Bad intentions on every punch. What a show they put on for us tonight.
So good.
This is one of those ones. It's an 8-round fight. I want 10 rounds. I want 12 rounds.
Give me 12.
Yeah, I want to see more of this. Just when they look tired, just when you thought the pace was going to slow down, just when you thought the gas tank had given out, they come back to life with bad intentions, with vicious punches, and hurt one another in dynamic fashion.
Coming up next.
He talked about the Arreola stock, and halfway through when he was in a dogfight, it did look like it was going to drop, but there may be a second angle on that if the quality of this fight is perceived to be such that both guys get brought up by it.
You know what? You hear this a lot of times in the fight game, that it's not always about winning fights, but selling fights. And nothing sells better than an exciting fight. So when 2 exciting fighters put on an exciting fight, both their stock rises. I think we see Chris Arreola back in a big match, and I think Curtis Harper earned himself a big-name opponent as well.
And what a good service to just the sport of boxing. They put it on Spike TV with Premier Boxing Champions, and these 2 heavyweights come out, and they put on a show. I know the fans that are here in this arena in Ontario, California, were delighted. They're on their feet, and they're screaming. I'm sure the same thing is going on for those of you watching at home.
And those watching, it looked like it would be a short fight, and an Arreola having the class edge from all of those previous fights against top guys, and that translated early into this fight, but it did not translate all the way through because his opponent had his own ideas.
Judges' scorecards are getting passed in. We're about to get an official decision from the judges. Who will it be?
Arreola has no concerns based on the look on his face. I think you won.
My scorecard is 77-74 for Chris Arreola, but I give a 10 on heart for Curtis Harper.
Combination of blood and sweat flying everywhere.
To come off the mat in the first round, to be literally beaten, bludgeoned, pummeled, dropped, almost knocked through the ropes, and then to come back to rally, to steal rounds, to hurt Chris Arreola, a guy who's got twice as many fights as you. Kudos to Curtis.
Now let's get our final numbers.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, will go to your judges' scorecards. Your first judge, Eddie Hernandez, scores the fight 76-75. Your second judge, Fernando Villarreal sees the fight 78-73. Your third and final judge, Pat Russell, scores the fight 77-74. All for the winner by unanimous decision from Riverside, California, Cristobal, the Nightmare Arreola.
Well, Joey, as you predicted, the hometown boy pulls it off. Chris Arreola gets a unanimous decision, but it was not without a fight. That was a close one, even on the judges' scorecards.